Good morning, everybody. So this course is developing and negotiating research sites, clinical study budgets, and contracts. And so this really is a course which hopefully at the end of the session you'll go, I knew all of that, or it makes sense what that's all about. It's really a very basic course. We will not be talking about the numbers and what costs are for such, because that really differs, as I have found, throughout the number of years that I've worked in clinical research, kind of with the times, with the organization, and then also in the therapeutic area. So if you were able to get the slides earlier and maybe had a chance to review them or to go through them quickly, this slide emphasizes the fact that there are always trial delays. So for whatever reason, we rarely have a study that starts on time. And according to a Center Watch survey that was done, budgeting and contracting remain the top cause of study delays. And so out of 950 participating sites, 49% had contract and budget negotiation approval as a key factor in study delays. It just edged out patient recruitment, although I have quite a few recruitment folks where I work, and I'm sure they would say that actually recruiting is the bigger delay. But right now, it's budgeting and contracting. For those of you that are working with sites, what kinds of budgeting issues do you find are delays? What kind of issues contribute to delaying budgeting and contract finalization? IRB approval, certainly. And so that's actually one of the reasons that way back when, I've been doing, research for over 30 years now, clinical research for over 30 years, and one of the kind of soft factors that we always talked about was the fact that you always made sure that you had enough studies or sites that could work with central IRBs. And actually now most of them can work with central IRBs because we pretty much know that if you're picking an academic site or a site that has to use a local IRB, we are still, we're still getting some delay, if not like total delay. I know that I've worked on studies before where the study is done before we've even gotten IRB approval on some of our sites that are working with their local IRB. So IRB approval and then coverage analysis. Stephen, can you explain a little bit more about what coverage analysis means for you?
Well, a lot of times, I guess, especially with the larger academic sites, they have to go through a Medicare coverage analysis, and that can delay them from, really reviewing the budget or at least getting a budget to you by anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks sometimes.
Well, you're lucky if it's only 2 to 6 weeks. I just wasn't sure what you meant by the coverage analysis, so it certainly gets you there. And that is the issue with some of these larger organizations is not only do they have the group that looks at coverage analysis, but they may then have another group that if X-rays or radiation's involved, it's the radiation group that has to take a look at it. And so one of the key factors then, and you'll see it there, is to know what questions to ask. So you have to know your study, you have to know what the procedures are, and then be able to, as one of your questions when you're doing your feasibility, is to find out what kinds of other reviewers or committees does that organization have to go through? Because we do need to work with our academic institutions. Many of our key opinion leaders are located there, so they are certainly important in, clinical research. Sponsor review and approval. Yes, I'm working on a study now where we will get items done and then ready for review, and there has been really quite a delay sometimes for the sponsor, getting back to us. So thank you, Lindsay, for that. So the cost of trial delays, startup and enrollment challenges will contribute heavily to clinical trials lasting, and here are the numbers: 42% longer than expected in phase 1, 31% longer in phase 2, 30% and beyond planned deadlines in phase 3 on average. So each day that a clinical trial extends over schedule, drug developers can lose as much as $600,000, and it's probably more now, in foregone sales for smaller niche products, or as much as $8 million for blockbuster drugs. So I know that I don't need to emphasize how critical it is to try to get our studies up and going and then done as quickly as possible, but we always need to keep kind of an eye and an ear out towards quality. So these are numbers. I'm hoping that we'll be getting some updated numbers soon, but these are from 2011. And it's an estimated per patient cost average, how much clinical trials have increased. So in phase 1, back in 2004, it was $5,500, and it's up to a little under 22,000 in 2011. As you go down the line there, you'll see that phase 3, A is 47,523, a little bit less than that in phase 3B studies. So any of you doing phase 2 studies, it's gone up to 36,000. And again, as I said, these numbers are really dependent on the type of trial, the length of the trial, what the product is, and also in terms of therapeutic area. But this is just giving you an idea that bottom line, the cost of doing clinical research is certainly not going down.